Hi, boys and girls. Well, today we're going to learn about the Maryland state reptile. And the Maryland state reptile is an aquatic reptile. What do you think aquatic means? Aquatic means water. So, our reptile for the Maryland state lives most of its life in the water. And reptile, who remembers what qualifies as the classification for reptile? You're right, a cold-blooded vertebrate that is covered with dry, scaly skin. Well, and most of them lay eggs too. So, this is our Maryland state reptile. It is the diamondback terrapin. And they call it the diamondback terrapin because its scutes have a shiny sheen to them, and they also have a kind of diamondy shape pattern as they go round. So we have a book about the diamondback terrapin turtle. Oh, we also have a sports team here in Maryland who is named the Terps. Yeah, a basketball team. All right, let's read our book, Turtles in My Sandbox. What? There's turtles in your sandbox? I wonder how they got there. And the story is written by Jennifer Keats Curtis, and it's illustrated by Emmanuel Shogun. So let's take a look at Turtles in My Sandbox. Early one morning in June, Mama Turtle, a diamondback terrapin, silently swam along the bay's shore. Now and then, her head poked above the cool waves. Below the water, her webbed feet moved quickly. Her belly was full of eggs. She wanted to lay those eggs on the beach close to where she had been born. Mama Turtle swam towards the shoreline. After checking for animals that might hurt her, she used her sharp black claws to pull herself out of the water and onto the muddy bank. So there's Mama Terrapin Turtle looking for a place to lay those eggs. Mama pulled her round body over the slippery slope and up the steep bank. Her lower shell scraped the stubby grass as she made her way up to the nesting ground in the sand. Using her strong back feet, she dug a teardrop-shaped hole by scooping the sand. First, she used her right foot, then her left. She laid 10 pinkish-white, leathery eggs. Then, using that same right-left motion, she covered the small eggs with sand. Mama Turtle had done her best to hide her nest. She ambled back down to the slope and slipped back into the bay. The only sign that she had been there were her funny-looking footprints. So she made it up. She dug a teardrop nest, and she laid 10 eggs in there, covered them up, and then, bye, see ya. So now the young are on their own. Early the next morning, a curious curly-haired girl found those eggs in an odd place, her old sandbox. As it turned out, Mama Turtle hadn't been on a beach at all. She'd been in Maggie's sandbox. Maggie had seen lots of eggs before, in birds' nests and in egg cartons, but she'd never found any in her sandbox. At first, she didn't realize what they were. Then she looked closely at the tracks leading to the nest. They looked like the letter J on both sides of a wide line in the sand, and she realized these were turtle footprints. Good thing she knew what they were. Mom, Maggie called, you're not going to believe what's in my sandbox. Maggie did not know much about baby turtles. She and her mom had visited the aquarium and the zoo, and they looked up at websites. Finally, they called the turtle lady to ask what terrapins eat, when they sleep, or whether they would make a good pet. "Why is that turtle in my sandbox?" Maggie asked the turtle lady. "Oh, Mama Turtle thought it was the beach," explained the turtle lady. "She was lucky. Sometimes turtles and other animals can't come on the shore at all. People put up rocks or bulkheads so their beaches won't get washed away." Maggie was happy that Mama Turtle had found a safe place to lay her eggs, but Maggie worried that other terrapins might not be so lucky. The turtle lady assured Maggie that she was just one of many people helping terrapins. She talked about a turtle sitting program. Turtle sitters feed and protect the tiny hatchlings to give them a head start. Sitters help the babies until they're big enough to fend for themselves in the wild. So that's cool. Maggie is going to become a turtle sitter. And in taking care of those turtles, she can help them get that head start to become grown up turtles. Maggie wanted to be a turtle sitter. She and her mom placed a wild nest protector over the eggs. This would keep animals like raccoons from eating the eggs. She was excited that baby turtles were coming. Every day that summer, Maggie read about turtles. After 55 days, she began checking the nest. Had any hatchlings come out of the eggs yet? One hot September day, as Maggie sat by her sandbox, she noticed a little dent in the top of the nest. She carefully brushed off the top layer of sand so she could see into the nest. As she watched, an egg wobbled. A small gray and black foot popped right through the shell. The hatchling's gray and white speckled face followed. The newborn's small egg tooth helped to break through the egg. Then nothing happened. The baby was resting. As Maggie watched, another gray and black foot burst through the egg, and within an hour, the whole turtle had worked its way out of the egg. Maggie thought the tiny turtle was beautiful. She gently touched his soft top shell, carapace. She admired the 13 raised ridges, scoots, on his back. Then she gently flipped him over. The sticky, light yellow egg sac was still attached to his belly. Maggie saw pretty black markings on his bottom shell, the plastron. "Hold still so I can look at you," Maggie giggled to the squirmy turtle. She named him Scamp. As Maggie stared at Scamp, she suddenly realized why the terrapins are called diamondbacks. The dark marks on the turtle's back looked like snail shells, then spiraled around, becoming smaller and smaller. "It's looking like a sparkly diamond," she cried. Maggie marveled over Scamp's scoots. Then she realized the other eggs were hatching too. "Mom, come quick," she yelled. Together they watched 8 more turtles break out of their eggs. One by one, Maggie named them. Freckles' skin was covered with black spots, which looked like freckles. Tudo was pale yellow. He hardly had any spots at all. Popper popped right out of his shell. Pokey seemed to take forever. Turpie was the biggest turtle to be born. Scooter was the fastest. Shelley had trouble getting a piece of egg off her head. Junior, the last terrapin to hatch, was a surprise. His whole head was gray. One egg did not hatch. Maggie covered it and left it in the sandy nest, covered by the sand and the nest protector. So here are the babies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 and 4 make 9. Maggie and her mom had learned that new babies stay in their nest for a few days and survive on the sticky yolk left in the egg. After that, they need fresh water and real food. As part of the Head Start program, Maggie's turtles would eat cut up little fish and turtle pellets. They would also live in tanks. Maggie and her mom set up 3 tanks with heat lamps. Each tank contained slightly salty water like the bay water. In the wild, terrapins rarely wander far from the water, except to lay eggs in the spring and early summer. But they do like to climb up and rest on basking or floating logs or on rocks near the water's edge. Maggie placed small stones and a few big sticks in the tanks to help the turtles feel at home. So she's creating an indoor habitat for them, help them be safe. It was too early to tell if the turtles were boys or girls, so Maggie placed them in tanks by the hatching order. Scamp, Freckles, and Tudo went into one tank. Popper, Pokey, and Turpy went into the second. Scooter, Shelley, and Junior shared the third tank. As the babies grew, Maggie learned that each turtle was very different, but they all wore big grins made by their small beaks. Pokey and Popper looked like twins. They were exactly the same size. Both had 2 tiny black markings right between their eyes and their nostrils. She could tell them apart because Pokey would shyly pull his head down almost into his shell when Maggie approached the tank. Papa wasn't shy at all. He grinned up at Maggie every time she went near. I like those smiley, grinning faces of the terrapin turtles. Every morning, Maggie turned on the heat lamps and then she fed the turtles. She loved watching them. Freckles zipped through the water and darted at the food. Papa really lived up to his name. He popped out of the water every time she came near the tank. He would practically leap out of the water when she walked near him, as if he knew she was coming to feed him. What a hungry turtle! At night, Maggie turned off all the lights. She fed the turtles again, mostly cut up fish. Sometimes Maggie gave them a fishicle. That's a popsicle made with frozen minnows. Sometimes the turtles ate small snails called periwinkles. Junior loved soft clams and razor clams. Pokey enjoyed eating the roots of marsh plants, but he always ate slowly. Scamp's favorite food was worms. What? I don't know that I would want to eat some worms, unless they're gummy worms. Maggie fed the turtles the kind of food they would have eaten in the wild. She cleaned the tanks every other week and made sure they had plenty of light. The lucky turtles stayed warm and well fed under their heat lamps all winter. In the bay, terrapins hibernate during the winter months. Even new hatchlings bury themselves in the sand near the shore. They sleep until warmer weather arrives. However, Maggie's Head Start turtles ate and grew while the wild terrapin turtles slept. By the following June, all of the terrapins, except Junior, were bigger than any hibernating turtles. Since Maggie's turtles were as large as the palm of her hand, she knew they were big enough to release. So that's great. So she's got a Head Start program. So while the wild terrapins are hibernating in the winter, her indoor habitat turtles are staying warm and well fed. On the first day of summer, Maggie and her mom joined the turtle lady and wildlife experts to free the terrapins into the bay. They were not far from where Mama had laid her eggs in Maggie's sandbox the year before. Maggie helped the experts place metal tags through the edges of the shell of each turtle. The tags didn't hurt the turtles, but could possibly help experts learn more about the turtles. After all the turtles were tagged, Maggie placed them on the sand. She watched them race to the water's edge and drop off into the bay. Pokey, he was last, of course. Maggie stared as the 9-month-old diamondbacks swam away. After a few minutes of freedom, they popped their heads above the waves to see how far they were from the shore. As they dipped below the surface again, each waved goodbye with a back foot before disappearing again, and Maggie waved back. And then here's some information about the terrapin turtle program. All right, my friends, scroll on down and see what your task is today for the Maryland State reptile, the diamondback terrapin turtle.